ఆర్బీఐ గవర్నర్ మీడియాతో మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. లైవ్ లో చూద్దాం.
Fallen considerably. Second, and equally important, is the reality that high food inflation adversely affects household inflation expectations, which have a significant impact on future trajectory of inflation. Household inflation expectations, after witnessing a moderating trend between May 2022 and September 2023, have edged up on the back of high food inflation since November 2023. Persistently high food inflation and unanchored inflation expectations, if they materialize, could lead to spillovers to core inflation through pickup in wages on cost of living considerations. This in turn could be passed on by firms in the form of higher prices for services as well as goods, especially in a scenario of strong aggregate demand. Third, these behavioral changes can then result in overall inflation becoming sticky even after food inflation recedes. The MPC, to summarize, what these points which I was mentioning about the importance of food inflation and how it can, high persistent food inflation can spill over to core and to the headline. Let me just summarize this part by saying that the MPC may look through high food inflation if it is transitory. But in an environment of persisting high food inflation, as we are experiencing now, the MPC cannot afford to do so. It has to remain vigilant to prevent spillovers or second round effects from persistent food inflation and preserve the gains made so far in monetary policy credibility. Now, overall, as I have said in my statement and as the numbers would speak, overall the inflation trajectory has been moderating and we do expect it to moderate. But the pace of moderation has been uneven and slow. So therefore, we need to be watchful to ensure that we move to closer to 4% and the CPI inflation gets aligned to the 4% target on a durable basis. That indeed would be what I should say, that it indeed would be the best contribution which monetary policy can make to support economic growth in the country. Liquidity and financial market conditions. This is what I would now like to focus on. System liquidity transited from deficit in June to surplus conditions in July. In tune with changing liquidity conditions, the Reserve Bank conducted two-way operations under the LAF to ensure that the interbank overnight rate remained closely aligned to the policy rate. Mirroring the liquidity dynamics, the weighted average call rate, that is WACR, on an average remained close to the middle of the LAF corridor. Across the term money market segment, the yields on certificates of deposit and 3-month treasury bills, that is T-bills, eased, while the yields on commercial papers remained stable. The 10-year G-Sec yield softened in June-July and in August so far. The term premium has remained steady in recent months. Transmission in the credit market remains ongoing. Going forward, the Reserve Bank will continue to be nimble and flexible in its liquidity management operations, keeping in view the evolving liquidity conditions to ensure that money market interest rates evolve in an orderly manner. During 2024-25 up to August 7, the Indian rupee remained largely range-bound. The lower volatility of the Indian rupee bears testimony to India's strong economic and financial stability and an improving external outlook. In the last few days, global financial markets have seen turmoil on concerns of growth slowdown in a major economy, flare up in